Fragrances that not everybody gives a fair shake. Some you may have never even heard of. So I scoured through my collection and I came up with 5 particular fragrances that A, have just ridiculous performance on my skin, and B, doesn't really get much love by anyone. Maybe once in a blue moon you'll hear about them, but not in the forefront of what's a popular fragrance these days, whether niche or designer. So in this video, like I said, I've collected 5 of those fragrances. I want to discuss them with you, so stay tuned. Starting with one that you may not see coming, you may have never given a chance because you heard, oh, it just smells like Invictus. It's definitely got its share of differences. It's much more boozy, it's much more sweet and less aquatic. That being Paco Rabanne's Invictus Intense. The black sheep of the family, if you will, gets no love. And look, yeah, it smells like Invictus. It's an intense version. The name's fitting. The whiskey note. That's really what's the difference maker here. And look, Invictus is a beast on my skin. This takes it a notch further. This projects just as heavy, but lasts even longer. This is 12 plus hours on my skin. Like I said, this is absurd performance. It's way more than I need. While not one that I even wear that often, this is one of those fragrances that earlier in the year I said, as the year progresses, I want to reach back in my collection with fragrances I haven't spent enough time with in recent months or in the last year or so. And this is one of those fragrances I was talking about because it does not get its fair shake. It actually is a very good fragrance. Now, it can be a bit harsh for being sweet. This whiskey note is very prominent. The bay leaf is a little heightened here. So it's got this, it's kind of like mixing Invictus with Invictus Legend, because the bay leaf and the salt are much more prominent in Legend. Take that, add some more of that aquatic sweetness from the original Invictus with this whiskey note, and you're going to get Invictus Intense. The name's fitting. It is a much more intense version of the original Invictus. And like I said, the fragrance that gets the least amount of love. Nobody talks about it. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a Scent of the Day post from anyone on any social media platform on this one. It's still out there for a great price. Probably the most affordable version to get at discounters, to be honest with you. And based on my experience, it is the strongest performer of the bunch. Give it a shot. If you don't mind, very sweet and herbal. That's what it is. It's a sweet, boozy, herbal take on Invictus. Give Invictus Intense a try. You might not be disappointed, because I know I'm not. I need to wear it more myself. With all of the fantastic releases EJ from HAPPYLAND Studio has had in recent memory, it's easy to overlook one of the all-time greats from the house that I'm guilty of not giving it its fair share of love anymore, because it's still one of my favorites from the house. But like I said, with great release after great release, it gets shoveled to the side, that being Paisley Sky. I also have a 30 ml before the production labels were ready, so I spray from 2 different bottles technically, and this is one of the more sexy, appealing ouds out there. It's a more synthetic oud, don't get me wrong, but it's loads of heliotrope here. It's bright, it's seductive. Like EJ once said to me, chicks dig when I love Paisley Sky. I'll never forget when he mentioned that line to me. And look, every time I've ever worn this, my wife cannot stop telling me how good I smell. I know others that have mentioned this one in the past say they get great attention, if that's what they're looking for anyways, with a fragrance like this, because performance is beyond fantastic. This is a 12 plus hour fragrance. This is one of those fragrances that if you put multiple giant sprays like that on, everyone's gonna smell you. Everyone, wherever you go, is going to smell you. This is one of those aphrodisiac type of scent profiles. It's quite seductive. It's alluring. It's extremely attractive, and it will captivate and grab somebody. It's good for that. If you're looking for that type of scent, you're missing out by not getting your nose on Paisley Sky. You can get decants from HAPPYLAND Studio at the very least. it's worthy of getting a decant and trying for yourself, because performance is very important to a lot of people. Again, absurd and outrageous and kind of unnecessary performance for the scent profile, to be honest with you. You can overwhelm and choke people out if you spray too much of this one. But the right amount of sprays, you still can really reach far out and grab somebody, because it's just a little bit different from Psychedelic Love and Oud for Greatness. Think fragrances like that, kind of mix them together with a bunch of heliotrope, and you kind of get what's going on here in Paisley Sky. Like I said, easy to forget about this one being one of the all-time greats from the house, when there's so many good releases coming one after another in the last year and a half. Again, it's Paisley Sky from HAPPYLAND Studio. One that I myself haven't talked about in a while and haven't worn in a while, and this one is one of the most powerful fragrances in my collection. Elemi. It's bright citrus, lovely soapy vetiver, very classic masculine, but crazy 12 plus hour longevity. I've never sprayed more than 4 sprays on my skin because I just choke myself out with it. That being DIOR SAUVAGE Parfum. I don't wear it as much as I used to, and I've never worn it a lot because this is kind of a special fragrance for me personally. It's one of those vetiver fragrances that I just cherish. Spicy greens, super fresh, soapy, woody vetiver. Fougere at its finest. My favorite version of the line. I do have the ones that are easy enough to get anyways. I have the Cologne, I have the Eau de Toilette Original, I have the Eau Intense Extreme, and Eau de Toilette Intense Extreme, and I have the 17 to present formula of the Parfum. Here I have a decant of the 2012 to 2016 Parfum as well, which is much more aromatic barbershop style than this is, but it's absurdly powerful. That creamy resinous nature of the Elemi really defines and gives this fragrance character, and when I say this screams off of my skin, I don't think I'm really explaining to you just how powerful this stuff is. And I've clocked it to 16, 17 hours on my skin before it became what I would even consider close to a skin scent. It's absurdly powerful. Like I've said, I've never once put more than 4 sprays on my skin because it is not needed with this. It is a classic masculine fougere style fragrance, but a parfum concentration. There's nothing modern about this fragrance. You have to like those old school herbal fougères, because this is an herbal fougere with a heavy dose of Elemi resin to really make a creamier approach. This is a darker herbal parfum, if you will. A little bit of spice, a little bit of bright citrus up top, but it gets much more earthy, resinous, and soapy woody vetiver. The soapy woody vetiver, it's very soapy that dries into a woody vetiver style in this fragrance. It's one of a kind, unique. I love this stuff. This is one of my favorite fragrances in my collection, which is why I'm so sparing with the sprays. But not just that, I don't need many of them. When I wear them, like I said, never more than 4. I don't need to, because absurdly powerful is kind of an understatement for a fragrance like DIOR Eau Sauvage. One that I featured in one of my winter lists in recent memory. I really dig this stuff, but it doesn't get a fair shake because it is an oud rose. And with so many oud roses out there, most people seem to pass on the designer oud roses, but the quality here is top notch for being a designer. That being Dolce & Gabbana, the One Mysterious Night. This is a bit more powdery of a jammy rose, lovely synthetic oud that doesn't smell like most of your other designer ouds. This is actually done very well for being the One flanker from the Dolce & Gabbana, the One line. I haven't tried Luminous Night, whatever, the blue one, or Royal Night, the brown one. I would love to. I just haven't been able to spend enough time with this one yet. The love affair still continues, and a lot of people don't really give it its fair shake. I've noticed that. There was a time when this was featured here and there across social media, but it seems to have kind of lost its way as far as lore and love from the community and from fragrance lovers as a whole. And I'm here to tell you that the lure still exists on this one. This is still one of the better oud rose combinations I've put my nose on. And I have several niche oud roses that rival this with me wanting to wear it in the first place, and this stuff just sticks to my skin. It never goes away. I do have to be mindful and easy of the sprays. This is another one I never do more than 4 or 5 sprays because it's so heavy off my skin, and the trail is super strong. The sillage is the magic here. It projects pretty heavy for the first couple of hours, but the sillage, the scent bubble, is very, very strong. The trail is magnificent. It really is. You have to like oud rose, obviously, and it does get a bit more powdery, so you have to be mindful of liking a powdery fragrance as well. While not too powdery, it's kind of in the moderate, medium powdery range. It's not super heavy on the powder, but it's not a light powder either. So that's something to keep in mind, and I think something like that is kind of what holds this fragrance down, to be completely honest with you. But in my opinion, underrated, underutilized, does not get enough love, and super powerful on my skin. Dolce & Gabbana, The One Mysterious Night. And finally, I only have a decanted bottle of this, and this is probably the most powerful fragrance in this video, to be completely honest with you. It smells like a powdery version of Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. A niche powdery version, that being PHAEDON TABAC Rouge. So this is a decanted bottle. I have worn it several times. It's a 2 to 3 spray fragrance for me. I'm going to try to lightly spray it. Just a little bit. Because a full spray, my room will smell like this till tomorrow night. It's lovely. It's a honeyed vanilla tobacco smell with some powdery notes. I recall powdery notes being an actual note in the note breakdown, and it is powdery from start to finish. It's like taking Tobacco Vanille with some baby powder. While that can be a turnoff for some, I'm sure. Like I said, if you don't like powdery fragrances, some of the fragrances in this video might not be for you, and that might explain to you why they're so underappreciated. But if you can appreciate the uniqueness, or in this case, taking a beloved scent profile and twisting it and making something different out of it to where it does smell clearly like Tobacco Vanille, but much more powdery with like this honey glaze over it, is kind of the smell that I get. A honeycomb honey glaze, honestly. And again, 16 hours is kind of shortchanging this one. Depending on how long it takes for you to take a shower, who knows how long this stuff will go on your skin. The longest I've ever clocked it was 16 hours before I took a shower. It's absurd. It's crazy. It's unnecessary performance, but for some people, that's exactly what they're looking for. And if you want a performance monster, an absolute beast in every sense of the word, you might want to take a look at PHAEDON TABAC Rouge. Well, that's the 5 I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. What of these 5 have you tried before, or do you own? Or is this the first time you're hearing anything about these fragrances? For some of you, that may be the case, and that is one of the reasons I wanted to make this video with these 5 specific fragrances, because they are that damn good for me and my taste, in my opinion. And these are some of those fragrances I want to reach back for this particular winter season that's upcoming, because they're beastly and they're built for the cold with this type of performance and these scent profiles. They are fantastic in my opinion. I'd love to hear what you guys think about them, if you have them or if you have tried them in the past. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the 5 I featured in this video and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.